العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
مستعية. طيب إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. طيب, we stopped on what condition? وأن يكون العاقد مالكا، صح؟ طيب, تعريف البيع. عبد الله. One second. عبد الرحمن. Is it possible to turn this on? تفضل. مبادلة عين أو منفعة أو بمثلهما. We missed something out. منفعة مباحة أو بمثلهما بمثل أحدهما من غير ربا ولا من غير، نعم، من غير ربا ولا، طيب، بغير ربا ولا قرض. طيب, we mentioned four principles that help us understand the mu'amalat, and this question is to the sisters. We mentioned four principles that clarify for us and give us an idea of all of the buyu's or transactions that are muharram. What are they? Okay, كل بيع اشتمل على ربا. Every single بيع or transaction that consists of riba is muharram. طيب. كل معاملة اشتملت على نعم، على الظلم والخداع والتدليس for muharram. Every transaction or every aqd that consists of oppression or deception or lying or cheating, then it is muharram. طيب. نعم, كل معاملة اشتملت على الغرض فهي محرم. Every transaction that consists of غرض يعني ambiguity or والميس, she said I didn't hear it. طيب, and the last one, كل معاملة, نعم كل معاملة اشتملت على ترك واجب. Every معاملة that consists of leaving a wajib off, or معاملة أو المعاونة أو الإعانة على الظلم, then it is محرم. مثلا selling after the نداء يوم الجمعة. Selling after the نداء, the second نداء يوم الجمعة, when the men are meant to listen to the khutbah. طيب, what about if someone tries to buy water? If a person he needs to make wudu and he needs to buy water, what should he do? Is buying water muharram in this case, or is it permissible for him to buy water, or is it wajib for him to buy water based on the principles that you've studied? Ahsant. It is wajib for him to buy water, because ما لا يتم الواجب إلا به فهو واجب. That which something wajib, another act which is wajib, doesn't get done unless by performing it, then it is also wajib. طيب, what is the ruling on al-bay'? عمر. الأصل الحل والدليل نعم, in the matan. It is in the matan. السلام. وأحل الله البيع وحرم الربا. طيب. What, and this question is to the sisters, what's the difference between al-gharar, uncertainty, and al-jahala? Al-jahala. Mentioned it a couple of times last week. When it's unclear. طيب. What about how to differentiate between the two? Because they're very similar. Go on, say it out loud, say it out, go on. Since you know the answer.
You say that you can easily get hold of like the product, but you are ignorant of what it contains.
طيب, that is what? Gharar or jahala? Jahala, ahsanti. And the other one?
That gharar is the person who needs to get hold of it. If you're not sure that you'll be able to get hold of the item.
That's gharar. That's gharar. You explained it. You explained gharar. Jahala is just the opposite. You know you can get hold of it, lakin you don't know the description of it. Mathala, I'm going to sell you one of my phones in my pocket. I've got 2 phones in my pocket, I'm going to sell you one of them. Is there gharar in there? La, because I can get hold of it, I've got it in my hand. Lakin, do I know which phone? La, I don't know which phone. That's the difference between the two. طيب. فيدخل فيه البيع بالجهالة. طيب. Unless obviously there's something called a tabi'. For example, can I say, the example that the Shaykh rahmatullahi alayhi mentioned, مثلا, I've got a she-camel and she's pregnant. Can I sell whatever she's carrying? Can I sell what she's carrying? You said no. Why? La, where's the tabi'? Where's the asl here? What did I say? Did I say sell the mother? Intabi. What did I say? Can I sell what's inside? La, why not? Gharar, jahala. It may be, she might be carrying 4, she may be carrying nothing. Might have died. Tayyib. What about if I want to sell the mother, the actual camel, but she's pregnant? Is that permissible? Why is that? Because that gharar, that uncertainty is minor. It's a tabi'. It follows on to the asl. As you said, jazakallah khair. It follows on to the asl. And it is something which is minor. Mathalan, or it can be something which is minor. Mathalan, when you want to buy a melon, a watermelon, sah? طيب, do you know what's inside there? It can be sweet, sour, it could be out of date. Do you know what's in there? Lakin, the gharar in that, number 1, there's a haja, and number 2, there's a need, obviously. And there's also, the gharar in there is not so major. It's not something enormous. So if you were to go to the greengrocer every day and say, listen, I'm going to cut up your watermelon just to find out if it's sweet or not, then obviously you're ruining itlaf. There's going to be itlaf, you're ruining the mal or the wealth of the people. طيب. وأن يكون العاقد مالكا للشيء أو مأذونا له فيه وهو بالغ رشيد. طيب. The next shart is مثلا for a person to sell وأن يكون العاقد, the عاقد, the person that is carrying out the contract, whether it's the buyer or the seller, مالكا للشيء. What do I mean by the buyer or the seller, for example? I've got a phone, I need to be the owner of the phone in order to sell it. I can't get someone else's phone and sell it. What does it mean to be the malik or the owner when it comes to the thaman, the price that you're going to pay? Mathalan, I can't steal the money from someone else and get someone else's money and buy an item with it. طيب. That the aqid, which is the ba'i' and the mushtari both, they have to be the owners of whatever it is that they're selling. Or مَأْذُونًا لَهُ فِيهِ, or he has to have permission when it comes to selling it. When it comes to selling it. And he is, the Shaykh says, the Malik has to be, and the Ma'dhoon has to be بَالِغٌ رَشِيدٌ, someone who is baligh mukallaf, yani who is al-aqil and reach puberty. That's the baligh, a person who is a mukallaf. Baligh equals mukallaf. طيب. Baligh, someone who's reached age, and he's a Rashid, he is of sound judgment. He is of sound judgment. طيب. So with regards to the person being the owner of what they're selling, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, وَلَا تَبِعْ مَا لَيْسَ عِنْدَكَ, or كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم, نعم, وَلَا تَبِعْ مَا لَيْسَ عِنْدَكَ, and do not buy that which is not yours, or that which does not belong to you. So I can't get an item from someone else without his knowledge and sell it. That's understood, صح? أو مأذونا له فيه, or he has to be someone who has been given an idhn. And that ma'dhoon is one of four types. Write this down. That ma'dhoon, the person that has been given permission, has to be one of four types, one of four people. The ma'dhoon is one of four people. Number one, al-wakil. Al-wakil. He is the agent or a representative, wakil. And there's a bab called wakala, and we shall get, it's coming inshallah. Like, he has to be a wakil. And a wakil is someone who I allocate as a representative, someone who represents me. Mathalan, I sell books. I sell books. I give 10 of my books to a friend of mine who's, I don't know, going to another city. And I say, listen, take these 10 books from my maktaba and sell them on my behalf. When he goes to that city, he doesn't need to call me and say, someone wants to buy it for this price, shall I sell it to him or not? La. He can sell it directly. Why? Because I've given him wakala, he is now my wakil. And this can be applied everywhere, it's not just bay'. Mathalan, for example, a man wants to give, a sister wants to get married, and her father is in another country. Her father is abroad. However, her uncle resides in this country. Her uncle lives with them. Who's the wali here? The father is the wali. But obviously, because the father is away, he can call his brother, her uncle, and say, I give you wikala, you are the wakil, you are my wakil. So give her away. Go to the meher and say, I give you my daughter or my niece or whatever. You are the wakil. So that person is ma'dhunun. He's a person who has been given permission. The next is al-wasi. Wa-siyad ya al-wasi. And he's the person that executes the will of a Muslim, of another person. He's the person that executes the will. And I tell him or her what to do, how to do it, and what to spend certain things on, and so on. And when you're given wasiyah, or when you're given a will, you're allowed to give a thuluth, a third, maximum. So 1/3 you're allowed to give a thuluth. So the wasi is the person who is carrying out that wasiyah. Mathalan, Imam al-Bani rahimahullah, he donated all of his books to Al-Jami' al-Islamiyya, Islamic University of Medina. And the wasi, that was his wasiyah. So his students who brought his books to the to the maktaba, they were the wasi. طيب. And then the third one is the nadir, and nadir. And that nadir is the overlooker of waqf, endowment. So مثلا, a person passes away and he says, right, this مثلا markaz, this center, this college, is for the students of knowledge to take advantage of. To study in, to read the books in the library and so on, and to stay. The person that's overlooking the markaz, he is the nadir. And there's a bab in waqf. We're going to get to that inshallah. Like we're just talking about who is al-ma'dhun. Also al-wali. Al-wali, the guardian, as you all know. A guardian. Like when it comes to bab al-biyu', when it comes to biyu', it's not the father and the brother and so on. It could be anyone that has been, or anyone that the judge allocates. The judge deems fit to carry out. Now, طيب. There's something called التصرف الفضولي. تصرف فضولي, which is تصرف فضولي or التصرف الفضولي. The meaning of that is, مثلا, a person, مثلا, I take Abdullah's phone. I take Abdullah's phone without his permission, and I go sell it to someone else. I go sell it for £800. That transaction is called تصرف فضولي. فضول, يعني no one told you to do it. What is the ruling on that? Bearing in mind, we said that أن يكون العاقد مالكا, that the shart is that the aqid is a malik. Haram. Why? It is not owned by you, therefore it is muharram. He didn't give him, Abdullah didn't give him consent. He didn't give me consent. So it's muharram. Do the sisters agree? I sell one of the brother's phones and I sell it to someone for £800. طيب? Without his permission, obviously. Is the aqd batil or not? لحظة, the brothers had a chance. One sec. Huh? Why? نعم, he's not the owner. طيب, تفضل. أحسنت. We don't say it is batil initially, and we don't say it is sahih. We don't say it is correct or that transaction is sahih, nor do we say it is fasid. We have to wait until the person whose phone I sold, we have to get their permission. The evidence is the hadith of Urwa ibn al-Bariqi, rahimahullah, radiyallahu anhu. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave him a dinar to go buy a shat, a sheep. He went and he bought 2 sheep for 1 dinar. So the Messenger wanted what? 1. And he gave him 1 dinar. When the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gave him 1 dinar, he went and he bought two sheep. Then, so what has he got now? 2 sheep. He's given a dinar away, obviously, he's bought it. Then he sold 1 sheep for 1 dinar. What has he left? What has he got now? 1 sheep and 1 dinar. And he gave it back to the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua for him. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua for him. Therefore, that is mutawaqqifun ala idhn al-malik. It goes back to the idhn, the permission of the malik. Abdullah's phone that I gave you the example of £800, it might actually be worth £200. So if I say to him, I sold your £200 phone for £800, will he have a go at me or will he thank me? Thank me, because he's now got extra £600 and he can buy a better phone. طيب. Also, there's a hadith that you've all read or come across to do with tawassul, where a person or three men were stuck in a cave. Who remembers it? Think. Who remembers that hadith? In Riyadh al-Salihin, تفضل.
I don't remember the matan, just
لا, don't worry about matan, the meaning.
they slept overnight inside the cave, and when they woke up next morning, they found the rock
Covered
covered in the cave.
the entrance.
One of them mentioned
Ibadah that they done for the sake of Allah. Sah.
and they used it as a tawassul for the rock to be moved.
Naam. Because you can do tawassul with your righteous deeds. تفضل.
And the first one mentioned that he must have went and milked camels or
Naam. He milked camels and he sat next to his parents, so he never used to he would never feed his children and family until he fed his parents. The second,
I think or the third Allah A'lam, he was close to doing zina.
yes, sah, he was close to doing zina, and then he, as he was about to indulge in that, she said to him, "Ittaqillah fi Allah," and he stopped for the fear of Allah. And the third,
And the third one was Allah A'lam.
طيب. أحسنت.
One of them was a worker, and he didn't give his wages. Basically, they didn't give him his wages, so he invested the wages for him.
Okay.
So when the worker came back asking for his wages, he said that he had like the whole garden now. So rather than giving him his initial wages, he sort of used it for something else, and the outcome was even better than the initial wages.
أحسنت. Where's the mahal shahid in that hadith? Naam, that last one. You mentioned everything like in the mahal shahid you did not mention. طيب. So that individual that the Messenger ﷺ told us about, a worker done something, a labourer done something for him, done work for him. And then before he was given the opportunity to pay him, he went off. He went away. He came back ages later and he said, "Give me my right that day I worked for you once upon a time." And he said, "See everything in that valley, all of those animals in that valley, on that valley, they're yours." And he said to him, "Stop mocking me and give me my right." He goes, "No, wallahi, that's yours." The mahallu shahid is what? That was tasarruf fuduli. The labourer, did he ask him to invest in his wealth? Did he ask him to invest? La. Lakin he invested and he was rewarded. That is called shar'u man qablana. That shar', obviously this was a story probably from Bani Israel. Authentic hadith, lakin it is not from the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is from the ummah of those that preceded us. Like in this masala we'll see in usul al-fiqh inshallah, the shar' of those that preceded us, is it a shar' for us? Is it legislated for us? Like in this case it is legislated because there's something that bears witness to it in the sharia of Islam. For example, the hadith of Urwa al-Baghiqi where he sold a sheep for the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam. طيب. وهو بالغ رشيد. So the person that is selling, even if he is the owner, he still needs to be a person that has reached puberty, and the person that is Rashid, sound mind. So the Rashid in every bab depends on the actual bab. So the Rashid, for example, in Kitab al-Nikah, the wali has to be Rashid. The Rashid that is meant in Kitab al-Nikah is the person has to be able to look at the masalih and the mafasid of marriage, of nikah, who's suitable, who's not. So he's not just going to think, "Oh, this person's rich, I'm going to marry my daughter off to him." Like, he's a person that looks at the person's character, at the person's religion, and so on. So in Biyu', what is meant by a Rashid is a person who his tasarrufat, his dealings are reasonable and sound. So he's not going to, for example, sell a whole house for £50. Just because, or if you give him a brand new iPhone, he'll say, "Take the whole house and I'll give you the tenancy agreement tomorrow." So that's not someone that is sound. He's not a Rashid. And Baligh, obviously, has to be of puberty. He has to reach puberty. Lakin, there are things that are permissible for a young child to buy. And that goes back to the urf. And that has been the urf of the Muslims forever. Since ever. Mathalan, parents always send their children to the local corner shop to get milk, groceries and so on. And the child goes, buys it and comes back. Sah? That aqd, is it fasid or sahih? Sahih. Why? Because it's something minute. What if that child wants to sell his father's car? Like, forget his father's car. What if he wants to sell his car, his inheritance, that's his car. What if he wants to sell it? Is it permissible for him to do so? Yeah, and a 10-year-old child can't sell his car.